Oh, she's got all of it. Okay, we're live.
Let me retake this shit. Let me click record on this because I still got to do the podcast form.
We do.
All right. So this is the part where you have not seen Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Get the fuck out of here.
And go watch it.
Yeah.
And then come back and listen to this. Or maybe you want to listen to us talk about it because you don't want to watch it. Or maybe you want to hear us talk about it and then go watch it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. However you spoilers, whatever you want to do.
However you live your
Well,
life.
we're talking spoilers here.
We're going to talk about Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Yeah.
Just saw it in theaters. It just came out July 4th.
Yep. Saw it last night.
It's lit.
It's really good.
So how do you want to talk about it? Do you want to start talking about some Spidey-Mans?
Yeah, sure.
I know you love this movie.
I did love this movie. What's your overall thoughts start with?
Growing up, Spider-Man, one of the best superheroes ever. And then I feel like Iron Man, when that movie came out and the whole MCU started happening, Iron Man took the role of the A superhero.
Sure.
Back in our day, in the 90s, Iron Man, be C-level superhero.
Yeah.
Easily. But then Iron Man took that role and ran with it. And it became this whole thing, and it was crazy. And then we just had Endgame, and the dude dies.
Yeah.
And he's gone. And this movie basically takes off from that, takes that story arc, but still goes into its own way. And I thought that was really, really well done.
I think that's what have been great about all these Marvel films are you can watch it as a solo film.
Yes.
And sure, you might have a couple of questions here and there.
Right.
But I think you can enjoy it and you get the story of Spidey trying to get the girl, but also having to step up to be the superhero and fight Mysterio. I think you can watch this having not watched any of the previous, 22 films? But also with Marvel, it's so much more rewarding having seen everything.
Yes, definitely.
Now, this one is probably more tied into previous films than others. Obviously, it's dealing with the death of Tony Stark.
And I will always
What did you think of that to start?
Love it. I like how movies, most of the Marvel ones lately, always start with a punch song right in the beginning. And I thought this one made me laugh so hard.
Well, both this one and Endgame started not with the Marvel flicker thing, but with a scene. So Endgame had that brilliant scene with Clint, with Hawkeye, with his family disappearing.
Right.
This one had the water. Was it the sand monster thing?
Right.
In Mexico, having destroyed everything, and Mysterio being there, and Nick Fury and Maria Hill showing up.
For me, I really liked because that scene was cool, but I really liked when that song hit after, and the shitty slideshow that the kids put together, because there's like little watermarks on it.
I'm pretty sure they use Comic Sans
for
one of the fonts.
So fucking funny because that's what kids would do.
And it was in memoriam. Yeah, it was very funny.
That made me laugh so hard, and it's little things in that made me, because it's like you'll have a stock image of something, and it's like there's little. I thought that was funny.
What I'm loving about this Tom Holland Spider-Man is they're really going to the roots of him being
funny.
Being a kid, being a teenager, being that awkward teenager. And you had him be a kid for one film in the Tobey Maguire ones, I feel.
Yeah.
And then he's an adult. Same with Andrew Garfield. And this is but they look like men as well. Tom Holland looks like a boy.
Yeah.
You believe he's 16.
My favorite Spider-Man comics to read were him in school.
Him as a kid.
Yeah.
And it's so different from all the other cast they have of superheroes. He's the one kid.
I agree. He definitely fits the high school. I really enjoy the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie. That one's fantastic. And I enjoy him in high school with the catching the thing with Mary Jane and stuff. But Tom Holland in high school, it's just it kind of fits to high school.
It does.
We both are in our 20s. We haven't been in high school in a long time. But this is how high school is.
What I loved as well is they're using the death of Tony Stark almost in the way that the death of Uncle Ben makes him become that hero.
Sure.
This whole film was basically him discovering with great power comes great responsibility. Now, they don't say those lines, but we've seen the death of Uncle Ben twice. It's
Right.
like I never need to see Bruce Wayne's parents die again.
Yeah, I'm done.
I
with
never
that.
need to see Uncle
You
Ben.
probably will see it.
Yeah, probably. I never need to see Uncle Ben die again.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really clever way tying it in with the whole Marvel universe, having Tony Stark's death, have him question like, what am I doing with these powers?
Right.
Do I deserve them? Should I be responsible for them?
How am I the next Iron Man when I'm still in high school?
Yeah.
I can't even get a girl. Like I can't even do
Completely.
things, but I'm in high school. I really liked that. I really like Tom Holland. I think he's really funny. I thought the whole movie
How
was-
can you not like him? He's so likable. I
Yeah.
think.
Watching all of the Spider-Man movies that we've seen, we get to see different villains through different ones.
Mm.
And obviously they don't kind of want to repeat similar villains.
Sure.
So they brought in a new one that we haven't seen. A real B-list villain, I'd say. Not one of the main Spider-Man villains, but now has instantly become my favorite Spider-Man villain. I think every Spider-Man movie, there's little things about certain villains that they kind of fucked up. Maybe Doc Ock is the only one they kind of didn't really fuck up. I really liked
They
Doc
did,
Ock.
yeah.
But I enjoyed Doc Ock. But
Vulture, I thought was excellent.
True. But now Mysterio, I was like, how are they going to do that? Because there's so many different ways. In the comics, he's an actor, and he's always like a magician.
He's like an illusionist.
Yeah,
isn't
he tricks
like
you.
David
doesn't
Copperfield kind of thing.
Now, bringing that into a movie, I thought they were just going to be like, he throws smoke, and he's an actor, and he's a fake, and he's a magician. But the way they take the Stark stuff, like the technology and all of that, and they bring it into that character is so smart.
Oh, it just links everything together.
It makes it realistic.
It makes it make sense in 2019.
It makes it actually real.
Like the whole drones thing. Like drones are a thing people worry about these days. The fact that you can just click a button and target something very specific.
Right.
I loved the callbacks right back to the first MCU film, Iron Man 1, with the guy who's working for Obadiah Stane.
Yeah.
Him being back in this film, I thought was brilliant.
He was like fired or whatever all those years ago, and he's back.
And then they kind of photoshopped Jake Gyllenhaal
Yeah.
in the background of one of the scenes. But I thought it made his character make sense, his motivations. I like understanding a bad guy's motivations.
Right.
Jake Gyllenhaal's also just
also when you have a really good actor, it really shows.
It really
helps when you have an actor who's actually so fucking. I love Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
I just watched Donnie Darko again last week. Still don't understand that movie. Still good movie. Nightcrawler.
I was just that's my favorite Jake.
Yeah,
Gyllenhaal.
underrated movie.
I was even thinking, should we review that one day?
Yeah, that's an underrated movie.
Really
Actually,
good movie.
Nightcrawler, very underrated. Not the X-Men Nightcrawler.
No.
Because Mysterio in Spider-Man 2, the video game for PS2, people fucking love that game. It's considered one of the best. It doesn't really tie in with the movie, but it still does. And Mysterio is in that movie, in that game, sorry. And in that game, it's similar to the comics. Like you have to go through his illusions and all this shit just to realize he's a fraud and he's a fake.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happens in here. Knowing this in the movie, you know that was coming. You knew, like, okay, when is Mysterio going to reveal that he's a...
That was maybe... I mean, it didn't take away from my... No, it didn't take away from my enjoyment. I just wish...
Because you didn't know
I'd have liked them to have tried to have... In trailers and stuff and press releases, make us think he's someone else.
Sure.
Because you're waiting for the heel turn.
Right. It was a heel turn.
You're waiting for the moment where you realize that this is all bullshit and he's the bad guy.
Well, that's where they got you, because they try to trick us, knowing, like, if you're a Spider-Man, or you just know, like, he's the bad guy.
Yeah.
You know he's turning. But there's a specific scene when he's sitting with Peter Parker and they're having just like a conversation. He's like telling him about like girls and like his thing. You're like, oh, like he is a nice guy. And then it's like he still is, but he's the bad
This
guy.
was one of my gripes. He's like, do you want to get a drink? And he's like, oh, but I'm not 21. You're in Prague. Like, it's definitely 16.
Yeah.
It might even be 14. It's the drinking laws in Prague.
It's not 21.
He can definitely drink in Prague. And I thought he was going to go like, you're in Europe, baby, or something like that.
But that's Peter Parker. He's such a wholesome guy. He's like, no, I can't drink. I'm not 21.
But also, it would have made it him giving Edith, which are he's got these glasses that Tony Stark has entrusted in him.
Right.
It's kind of like Jarvis, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It can track everything, do anything you want.
Yeah.
But Tony didn't use his words well on that note. He leaves a note saying,
You'll know what to do.
"You'll know what to do, Tony Stark."
Yeah.
So Peter Parker was like,
Fucks
"Oh, this isn't for me because
You'll know
Tony
what to
knows
do.
I'm young. This is to give to someone else," and trusted Quentin Beck.
Oh, man.
I just think maybe if he was slightly drunk doing that, it would have been
no, because he knows he fucked up. He's like, oh man, I totally fucked
Yeah.
up. That's funny when especially a hero realizes, yeah, I fucked up. I really liked the fact that they do the illusions so fucking well. In the comic books, you could draw the pictures in the comics could be anything because they could be like Mysterio tricked Spider-Man into doing this. In Old Man Logan, which we just reviewed Logan for our show, Mysterio's the reason why the X-Men die.
right.
He convinces Logan it's all in his fucking
Sure.
head, and he kills the X-Men. You wouldn't think Mysterio would be that, but that like Mysterio is the one who fucks with your brain and stuff like that.
I loved the scene as well where Peter like keeps on thinking it's real, like keeps falling. You see that in the comics all the time. Peter going through this like mental moment. It actually reminds me of an episode of the X-Files.
Okay.
A really good episode of the X-Files where there are these hallucinogenic mushrooms.
Okay.
And there's basically
sounds great.
This mushroom that's so huge that they're actually inside the mushroom the whole time and haven't realized it.
What?
And throughout the whole episode, you keep thinking like they're back in Skinner's office at the end. You know, have you ever seen X-Files?
Yeah.
So the mission's over, and then there's like the debrief scene with Skinner at the end. And then he just like pulls out a gun and shoots him in the head, and the head melts away and everything. And you realize, they're still in this.
Still there.
And I love that this bit when you're going, is this real? Is that Nick Fury? No, it's still.
Is this?
It's still Mysterio.
Mysterio there. Yeah. So there's scenes where Spider-Man gets thrown into such like crazy things. Like CGI is amazing in this because you're seeing what you think he sees, and then when you actually see what it is, and it's Mysterio in the dome head. Controlling the drones and everything. It's so realistic.
Yeah.
How other ways would you have made Mysterio do these things? You can't. Realistically, like trying to do it realistically, you can't.
No.
So him to have all this technology with the holograms of the disasters and things like that, which we've seen previously in the Tony Stark. So to bring it all together
and
is
also
so smart.
still being like Stark technology, essentially, which goes back to Ultron and all that kind of.
And
Tony keeps fucking up. Even in death, he's still kind of responsible.
Well, Edith, even dead, I'm the hero.
Yeah.
Love that. I also loved when there's a scene when Peter it's all imagery and things like that. And you see he's at the gravestone of Tony Stark. And then the zombie of Tony Stark. It's the Marvel zombie. Yeah. And
there are
so
a lot
cool.
of callbacks to like comics and things. I think that's why they're so good.
Did you catch a wrestling tie-in in this movie?
I don't think so.
And Marissa Tomei.
Yep.
Marissa Tomei is throwing her blip party, like surviving thing, charity fundraiser, and she's making Peter as Spider-Man, like be the guest of honor kind of thing. There is a poster for like the charity thing, and if you look at like it says like Spider-Man will be here, blah 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 will be here at this time, blah blah. Crusher Hogan will be here.
Okay.
Crusher Hogan with Macho Man in the first Spider-Man.
Cool.
Yeah, you just a little tiny little thing there. I thought was really cool. Marissa Tomei is an amazing Aunt May.
Different Aunt May.
Yeah, hot Aunt May.
Hot Aunt May.
Yeah, I really like her. Who's also in The Wrestler.
Oh yes,
fantastic.
And so she's got a relationship going on with Happy Hogan.
Oh, Jon Favreau.
I love these.
Having a great
what
day.
I love with these MCU movies are the B, maybe even C-list characters that keep showing up.
Right.
Again, he's a guy who's been in it since the beginning.
Crazy.
And now he had a pretty lead role in this film.
Yeah.
Like the biggest role he's had,
Jon Favreau is having a really good year with this, The Lion King. Like, dude is killing it. He also is. Have you ever seen the movie Chef?
Yes.
So he has the new show, and he has Tony Stark.
Robert Downey.
Yeah, he's on it.
Okay.
Because I'm sure he's like, hey, come. So he does a show where he's Jon Favreau, but they do kind of chef things and they cook cool food. It's on Netflix. It's
nice.
It's really cool. I haven't seen all of it. I just seen the clip with Downey Jr.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, Tony Stark, what? Amazing. I thought the first Spider-Man with Tom Holland, Homecoming.
Yeah.
I thought it was funnier than any of the other Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
But this one I thought was even funnier. There's a specific joke in this movie that I laughed so loud in the theater. I just laughed my ass off. And it's like a throwaway comment, but the writing here is fantastic. So the blip is what they call the snap.
Mhm.
They explain to you really quick what happened, that if you were part of the blip, then you came back and you're still alive, but you're like 5 years. People who didn't die are 5 years older because 5 years have passed. But when the blip came back, those people came back. So when Peter's on the plane with Martin Starr, who we have on our fridge, did you know he plays Bill from Freaks and Geeks?
Okay.
Years later, my favorite character in that show. Martin Starr plays Mr. Harrington.
Yeah.
No relation to myself, Mr. Harrington. He says to Peter, "Oh yeah, did I tell you my wife faked the blip? We had a fake funeral for her and everything." Oh my fucking god, that's such a throwaway comment, but the writing is so intricate and like meta that this sad teacher that he's so funny in this movie. That teacher, I just thought that was so hilarious.
I want to go through sort of individual characters a bit rather than, because we don't have a breakdown of
I didn't write any notes,
so we're kind of talking all over the place. What I love with the casting for this film is the kids look like kids to start with.
Yeah.
They've gone away from how they are in the comics, like looks wise.
Sure.
Personality is still there, but updated. So you've got Flash Thompson.
Yep.
Doing the video blogs the whole time.
Yeah, so funny.
That looks nothing like the Flash Thompson we see in the
comics.
In the comics, but it works. He's still a dick.
100%.
He's still obsessed with Spider-Man.
Yeah. He's gonna become a villain.
Yeah. So can you see him as Venom?
Does Flash become Venom? In the newer ones,
I'm pretty sure Flash is one of the Venoms, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. Yeah. I don't want to see anything Venom
ever
from this universe that we already have a Venom.
Yeah.
I do not want to see. I do not want to see Tom Hardy touching this.
I think MJ is fantastic.
Zendaya.
I think she's brilliant.
Such a funny character.
She's got like the spunk of MJ from the comics.
Yeah.
MJ's so known for the red hair.
Sure.
It doesn't matter.
No.
They've just cast what's her name as Ariel, and there's a bit of a what's her name? Not Halle Berry.
It's not Halle Berry. It's Halle Berry.
Halle Berry, who we saw at WrestleMania singing with her sister.
Really?
The national anthem.
Wow. We saw Ariel at WrestleMania?
I think so.
Whoa.
Or I saw it was the year before maybe, but yeah.
Okay.
So she's been cast, and obviously there's a load of stink online of, but Ariel's white with red hair. It doesn't matter. She's a mermaid.
Yeah.
I feel it's the essence of the character. Can you get that character and who that is? It doesn't care what they look like.
Sure. I mean, hey, before Tom Holland was cast, the whole thing was Donald for Spider-Man. Donald
Glover.
Yeah. So like he didn't really become Spider-Man, but he's technically in the universe. He's Prowler.
He is. Yeah.
He was in the last movie, and he's also
So I think she's fantastic as MJ.
I thought she was really funny.
Ned is hilarious.
All the kids are so Ned is really funny.
His relationship with Beth, is it?
No, it's
what's her name?
She becomes Betty in the Daily Bugle later on, doesn't she?
Right.
Okay. She eventually becomes the person who works the secretary.
Yeah.
Essentially. And if we want to talk about the Daily Bugle,
yes,
we get the mid-credit scene, the return of a very familiar face. The only guy who can play Jay Jonah.
The only guy.
I shouted, "Holy shit!" in the theater.
Like there was a big audible reaction from our
man. Viewing. Love that. I know we're just jumping all over the place, but that was crazy. I think he is the only guy who can play this.
Only guy. And
Parker.
It's the only thing that's crossed over.
Yeah, no one
from the Tobey Maguire ones. But now they're playing him as more like a conspiracy theorist, like YouTube kind of,
which is perfect. You're updating everything.
Updating everything.
In the Spider-Man game that came out for PS4 this past year, that's what they turned him into, that like right wing, like he's a podcaster and he's conspiracy against Spider-Man. They've taken that and made that.
Even his suit was more like the game with the white spider and stuff.
Right. And the new suit that he creates in this movie, you can download for the game now.
Right.
But it has black. The Spider-Man with black and the webbing under the arms and stuff. It's so cool. There's a lot of stuff that they tie in.
I think that was one of the most impactful stinger scenes for
Ever.
a long time.
Yeah,
It
definitely.
really sets up the next story. Peter Parker's out.
But like what?
we
How do
know
you do
he's
that?
Spider-Man.
How do you do that?
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Mm,
That's like that
which
leaves
makes
you.
it interesting.
It leaves you just like what? What happened?
So he's now going to be like Batman in Dark Knight Rises, I guess.
He's got to go rogue.
Yeah.
And disappear.
Yeah.
Or no one believes him.
Yeah.
Right.
True, because he's a conspiracy theorist. Like everyone's like this crazy guy.
I think that's what's gonna happen. I think this is all a ploy. In the first few scenes of the next Spider-Man is like
everyone winding him up. Oh well, you're Spider-Man. Maybe
like,
you can save this.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm not, guys. Like he's got to really play up. Like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
I think the whole movie as itself was the action scenes and the mix of the comedy. I felt like it was just a perfect mix of like everything Marvel's been doing with these MCU movies. They're so fucking good, man. It sometimes feels like you're really just reading a comic book, but on the
they've
screen.
done it so well.
Yeah. I really I wrote down because I have a line from Mysterio where he says, "It's easy to fool people when they're already fooling themselves." Why do the bad guys always get the best lines? Like even in wrestling, the bad guys always get the cool promos and vignettes and get to say the coolest things. But Mysterio here, very true. And Mysterio at the end revealing that he is Spider-Man, does that set up for the Sinister Six? Because they're still kind of teasing that. J. Jonah Jameson in the comic books creates the Scorpion. In the final after credit scene in the first Spider-Man movie, Homecoming, the Scorpion's there. We see him in that scene talking to the
Vultures.
Vulture.
Yeah, Vulture's in prison.
So we have Scorpion in prison with Vulture. Mysterio. That's three people.
We don't necessarily know if he's dead.
He's not.
Like, yeah.
He's not. He can't be. So there's three already. Who else would you add to the Sinister Six there? Because those are three people in the Sinister Six. Would you have to get the Goblin in the series eventually?
Goblin,
Doc Ock isn't introduced yet. Spider-Man has the best villains,
Rhino.
I would say. Like I know everyone loves. I love the Joker, but Batman has some cool villains. But I would say Spider-Man has the best.
I think Spider-Man has the strongest rogue gallery in the Marvel universe.
Sure.
Yeah. What did you think of the final scene, the end credit scene?
So when it was revealed that it wasn't actually
Talos.
I really like that because throughout the movie you're like, oh, how would Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury believe this? Like, how did he believe that this guy? Like, when he figured this out, you're always wondering. And then at the end, it was because it wasn't even him.
But it makes you wonder, how long has it been these guys?
Right.
So you see, Nick Fury, the real Nick Fury, is with the Skrulls in space on a beach. A big thing in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 1 was what's his name? Clark Gregg's character, Agent Coulson. They keep on saying about Tahiti and how when he got shot and stabbed and died. He was in Tahiti, which was basically like Nick Fury was here, a beach, but it was all fake. It was all fake. Now there's
you don't know what's real or not real.
There's a whole big story that people are saying maybe this is a setup for this, which is Secret Invasion. So which is the Skrulls attacking, shape-shifting, and everything. And now they all look to be on the same side at the moment, but I think this could be a little clue for this.
Sure.
And how long has he been Nick Fury? Because he mentions like, oh, it was inappropriate at the funeral. Was he Nick Fury then as well? Like, how far back does this go?
Right.
I don't know. I love coming out with these movies with loads of questions and going on YouTube and like looking into all these little things. But I love the film. One of the best Spider-Man films, definitely.
Definitely. I enjoyed this one more than Homecoming.
I think so, yeah.
Mostly because, again, it's for anyone, like anyone who's older than us and maybe used to read comic books and then finally got to go see this in a live action. It's just crazy. So for me to see Mysterio for all these years, mostly it's a character that would be really hard to do. And they nailed it. They overachieved on it. Like everything about it was so good. So I just felt like, wow, seeing this come to life is really well done. Is good on their part for actually doing
I gotta say, I loved seeing Europe as well. So used to seeing New York blow up. It's always New York. Why is it always New York?
They fought on the London Bridge or whatever.
It was Tower Bridge.
Yeah.
You had Prague, you had Venice, you had Berlin. I thought that was great hopping around.
Mhm.
Felt more like a sort of James Bond movie where you're just hopping around.
Yeah,
these
true.
different locations.
He's such a secret agent
Yeah.
going to different places in Europe.
So I thought that was just refreshing for the Marvel universe. We've been to space before we've gone to like Italy.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Which is pretty cool. And I think also just fans from those countries, it's awesome seeing, like, I was watching with Kim and obviously we went to London in February and I thought it was kind of cool being like, hey, do you remember when we were there? Now Mysterio's fucking it
now
up.
He's fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty true. I also liked so the illusion, well, it's revealed that it's illusions, but like you see this water creature, right? Like that comes through and everything like that. And I think it's Flash who's like, oh, it's Hydro Man.
Yeah.
I've read about this guy. It's this guy mixed with the thing. And I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. Hydro Man was sick. Hydro Man is like a Z level thing. But even to tie it in somehow is really cool.
Yeah.
You'll probably never see Hydro Man in a live action. So that was it. That's where you got to see it. Because it was him, technically. Technically, it was Hydro Man. And Sandman, maybe. I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's what I took. The first thing was like, oh, that's Sandman.
Yeah.
And then we got the Night Monkey.
The Night Monkey suit was really interesting. Like the black thing. I saw the movie with my friend Tony, and he was like, the Venom suit's going to go on the black suit. The Night Monkey suit's going to turn into Venom. I'm like, no, I don't want to see that.
Too soon.
I don't want to see
I don't. I think like Marvel Studios have been smart when they've released new things, and I don't think they'd rush Venom. Like, I mean, Tom Hardy, I think, is confirmed for Venom 2 anyway. So I don't think as long as that's going on, unless they eventually meet,
right? Which
could happen. Who knows?
Sure. I don't want to see that though.
But yeah,
I don't want to see that. I would rather see Spider-Man kind of fight new villains that we haven't seen, or villains we've seen but done again, but updated more well, right?
Absolutely.
We talked about how different like you casted someone completely different for like a different character that we've already seen, like Ariel and stuff like that. Yeah. What's stopping them from creating villains in the newer comics? Like Doc Ock's a girl. Doc Ock is a woman. They could do that.
Yeah,
you could do
completely.
Different characters with different things.
Completely.
And I'd be interested in seeing it because we trusted them to do some zany character like Mysterio, and they nailed it. So they could do it with other
Well, it's
things.
like I said with Toy Story earlier. I think I just trust Marvel.
Yeah.
I trust they're going to hire the right director.
Yeah.
I trust they're going to hire the right
They probably
writer,
already have the next few movies already
the right
written.
actor.
Right.
Yeah, like they get it right every time.
Yeah. I think I want to see the story arc of J. Jonah Jameson definitely being the
He's got to be. He's going to be a prominent.
Well, because in the comics he creates a Scorpion to go after Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He's like behind the scenes, like, yeah, I want to create this guy to stop him. I think even in some comics he becomes a Scorpion at some points, or he becomes his own created character. I don't know if I want to see Simmons become an actual action thing, but you could CGI him on certain things.
Yeah.
Well, what about Rhino? Right? He was.
We got Rhino. We got Lizard.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a Sinister Six brewing up.
It's just I wonder how many they want to take that have been from like the Andrew Garfield film.
Don't take any of those actors or characters.
Not actors, but like we had Rhino, we had Lizard, we had.
I don't need to see Rhino or Lizard anymore.
What's Electric Man?
Electro.
Yeah.
What's the mystery man? Stereo.
Yeah.
What's the Electric Man? Electro. One thing I do like about the Tom Holland movies, as soon as I didn't mind Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker.
No, me neither.
But about 20 minutes into the first Spider-Man movie he's in, I checked out because Peter Parker uses Bing.
Yes, you said this before.
Peter Parker would never fucking use Bing ever. He's a genius. You think he would use Bing? Not a chance. I instantly clocked out.
I didn't hate those movies as much as everyone else.
No,
I think what I really liked about it was the relationship between him and Emma Stone.
Sure.
I think both far too old for the parts. You couldn't really buy them being at high school.
Right.
But I thought their chemistry was fantastic.
Sure.
And now with these guys, I think Tom Holland and Zendaya's chemistry is fantastic.
Right.
And they look younger.
So
and they're closer to the characters in the books.
So MJ's got to die soon.
Well, MJ doesn't die.
I know.
Gwen dies. Although they did show the throwing off the bridge thing.
Yeah, I was going to say they teased that, but they don't kill her. What other characters would you like to see in this next universe? Because like we're talking about villains and stuff, but like Black Cat is a prominent character we never got to see in a Spider-Man movie. in the comics, it's funny because MJ does die, but in relation to Hydro Man, she's brought back. So
Right.
it is interesting that they had kind of Hydro Man reference. But
There's I'm blanking on the name. There was a character they introduced really recently, like a few years ago.
Sure.
Which is a kid who gets powers. He's like essentially like Flash, like he's super quick and everything.
Yeah. Okay.
And is a superhero, but gets really arrogant. So he starts like beating Spider-Man to the scene of every crime, and like Spider-Man's trying to like take him under his wing. It works better when it's a older Spider-Man, because this is like the adult Spider-Man,
right.
and being like, hey,
Tom
you
Holland
need to chill.
should stay for a long
And then
time.
he goes like bad.
Right.
As you said, I'd like a few more of the obscure characters that people don't know so well, because I think there's less expectation there, and you have a bit more freedom to do your thing with
Especially, I really liked Jake Gyllenhaal, but did he die? Because if he stays, I would like to see kind of.
I think they deliberately do that thing where
it's like wrestling.
He could be dead. He couldn't. If we need to bring him back, I'm sure all these actors they sign for
more than one,
at least 3 movies, probably.
Hmm.
But then they could very well decide, no, we're not going to go with him and not really mention him again.
Right. Well, I thought it was really fun. I already want to see the next one, because as a kid, you read a comic book, you're like, all right, cool. I wait another month or whatever, and you get the next thing. Like you got to wait a few weeks, and every comic would come out, and then I'd buy the trades and then read. Ultimate Spider-Man is my favorite.
Yeah.
There's fuck ups in that series, but clearly the movies take from it.
Yeah.
Because it's more modern and updated. And he's mostly in high school throughout that series. This movie definitely took from that series with the comedy and stuff, but there's a lot more in that series that I see them taking from in the near future. Venom is probably one of them. I think they would go with that route, but I thought it was super great. I want to see the next one instantly. I'm like,
we got to wait so long before the next film of any Marvel.
Why? When's the next one?
Next year, I think.
Oh man, crazy. Yeah. Well, they did a lot this year already. So.
They have.
I really liked it. I can't wait to see more. I've been watching the 90s show this week. I started watching the Mysterio episodes and stuff like that.
The animated.
Yeah, from the 90s.
I kind of want to go back.
Yeah, because in that one, Mysterio would copy him. He would look like him.
Okay.
Like Chameleon would do. So I enjoyed the 90s Spider-Man cartoon. Really, I loved it.
Yeah.
The theme songs. But is there anything else you want to say about that?
I think we're done.
All
I mean,
right.
I'm sure John and Wei will have like a in-depth review of the whole film in probably a year's time. Maybe they've just done Ant-Man, so they've still got a while to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, they'll talk in depth about it. But yeah, it's both fresh in our minds. Yeah. We know a lot of listeners love this universe, so we figured we'd chat about it.
Parker. So you can also listen to us talk about Logan, which is on our feeds everywhere you get our podcast. You can listen to us talk about NXT every Thursday on postwrestling.com, because that's what we always talk about. You can buy our t-shirts, prowrestlingtees.com/upNXT.
Get your tickets for the tailgate. They are running out. So postwrestling.com/NXT tailgate. I think that's about it.
Yes, you can follow us on everything we do on our socials, on Instagram and Twitter. I am at the Bray D.
And I am at Davey Portman.
Look forward to us every Thursday reviewing NXT, and look forward to the Evolve show featuring Adam Cole and Akira Tozawa. We're going to go head to head with John and Wei.
Yeah.
The podcast wars, the post-wrestling podcast wars. It's like the secret wars.
And subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is BDE Official.
That is correct. So we'll talk to you again next week. Goodbye and be safe.
Ahoy!
It's Alberto Lara. Band.
Hello, Scrump.
Band.
Okay, thank you for joining us, guys. And toodle pip.
That's not the sound you meant.